So I think what we should start doing is to get out of the 5-finger white note positions, start, going into D as in David, because at least with D as in David, we now have a sharp in the middle of the major position.
Okay.
Because the first 2 5-finger positions, if you go by the circle of fifths, you go up by fifths,
Okay.
are going to actually look and feel the same almost if you closed your eyes. You'd have all white notes for G major, and then you'd have the middle note, black note for G minor. That's just like C major is to C minor, as G major is to G minor. It's going to be the same thing. The first one that changes a little bit is D as in David major.
Yes.
I would like to look at that today.
Okay.
Show me D major first, the 5 notes of D major, so we have the notes. Now you want to still your dip forwards for your 8th notes like we do. We do the dip forward. So you get a nice singing tone. Dip forward, roll, and roll. You have to dip to roll a little bit, right, on your D and your A. So let's gauge your wrist more, so it cushions any kind of impact on the keys. That would be true of any instrument. That's much better. The only thing that happened was we went from 16th notes to 32nd. And 32nd was a hairbreadth, a little bit more behind double the speed of the 16th. So we need to practice. Remember last week we went backwards from 32nds and we went half to 16th? And we went half to 8th. That's a good thing to do. That way you know pretty much what you can control when you do your fastest speed. So you can start with, let's say this. Those are the main ones, and those would be 30 seconds, right? And half speed would be. Let's just practice back and forth between 30 seconds and then half speed 16ths. Because now you've got it all proportioned. Definitely have it all proportioned that way. I think the notes that tend to get punched for most people are the 5s and the thumbs. Yeah. So the 5 is an easy finger to punch out, and the thumb. So you want to make more of your little wrist dips on the outside of the 5-finger positions, the D and the A. See what I'm doing? You hardly hear any impact there, right? Okay, that was better. Now let's go to the staccato. Let's do this. Let's do it this way. Yeah. From staccato to legato. So we're going to do the staccato 30-second to legato 30 seconds. That actually is what happens when you do it, only backwards. So we'll do it like this. Yeah. So I did it exactly like it plays out, only in reverse. I did the usual, but I didn't do the soft staccato. I just did the big one, right? Then I went into the legato at the same speed, the 32nd, and then I went into the 16th. Because that's what happens when you actually do it, doesn't it? Only do it in the other direction. So, example. Yeah. I did the whole thing, right? Only backwards. So it's always staccato big. 30-second. So they're going to be 2 16ths to each one of the 8th notes, right? In your mind. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Right? We have 2 of those. Yeah, it gets a little tricky. But anyway, it's a challenge to do that. And that way I think you'll tighten up your cohesion of your rhythm from double speeds, right?
Okay.
Let's do it in contrary motion, but let's start from this way. So you're doing your 5s toward your thumbs, right? Your contrary. Find your A in the left hand. Yeah, get back to your D major position. That's it. You presented here too. It was only when you went from 16th to 32nd, the 32nd fell behind double 16th. So I think what we should do is decide, what do you feel comfortable with your 32nd? Do you feel comfortable with this? I'm slowing it up. Is that better than that? Or what's happening is, I think though you're capable of doing the full double from your 16th notes, but if you're hedging a little, you could be more conservative and pull back your 32nd and then half-half, like we did today. That's something I think you should explore. I do it with all my students. They mostly have to do that. They have to go backwards. But they also have to establish a threshold of what the 30 seconds that are within their reach are. Yeah.
Establishing that. You know, is that bad to tap your foot?
I wouldn't.
No.
It's not that it's bad or good, but it takes energy away from your arms being relaxed and everything being relaxed in your body. So it takes energy. So it's hard. I mean, jazz musicians, they were always doing it.
Yeah,
the optimum thing is to be so like dead weight in your arms and relaxed that all the energy is going down and not doing tapped foot.
Okay.
If you want to ever use a metronome, you could occasionally. Do you have a metronome? Actually, setting it. We'd have to set it at a certain speed, and you have to kind of experiment to see what works for you. Okay. I actually want. Are you doing your hopping one? We didn't do this one yet because you were doing the other key, right? That hopping routine that's on the back. So the only thing in tiny refinement would be to make all 4 notes. There are 4 notes under your fingers, right? Make them actually, I hate to use the word strike, but play together, like so they don't have any.
Yeah, I noticed they're not hitting at the same time.
Yeah. And that's something you experiment with in terms, and you listen carefully. Listen carefully. I'm really listening, otherwise I'll be making little bubbles. So you have to know before you play what you expect to hear, right? Okay, now we're going to do forward bounce. Remember how we do the 8th note? You go forward, bounce, forward, bounce, forward, bounce, forward, bounce. Right? The middle one is the bounce out of the first, the alternate ones. Okay, now we're going to do this one. Bum, 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 bum.